Hey, welcome back. In this week's selected Q&A, Jeff writes, can you tell me if masturbation is not acceptable and if porn is not okay if it's not an addiction, but a natural way to keep your body healthy? It has a huge effect worrying about if it's okay or not. To me, it's natural and healthy. Hey Jeff, thank you so much for writing in. I get this question a lot, sometimes even once a week. So I'll give my answer in just a minute, but Christians, I would love to have you weigh in before we even get started. Surely this is something that you've thought about and prayed over, and I would love your thoughtful and kind comments below. In case you don't know, I'm Amy. This is Ask a Christian, the place for authentic discussion about the Bible, Christianity, and what life looks like following after Jesus. If you have a question you'd like to pose to me, send it to askachristianfriend@gmail.com and I may select it for a video like this one. If you would like to support this channel, of course, the regular ways are awesome. Your subscribes, your sharing of content, and if you would be interested in purchasing some merch, I will leave that link in the description section. All right, let's talk about this fun topic. Jeff, this answer will not be comprehensive, but feel free to ask follow-up questions. Let's look at a few things pertaining to this topic. Point number one, masturbation is not talked about in the Bible, not even a little bit. Some churches would disagree with me because there's a story in Genesis 38, I think around verse 8, where this guy named Onan spills his seed on the ground. This guy Onan is called out as being evil and he actually bites the dust. But if you read the story in context, it's not about masturbation at all. In fact, it's more about pulling out. Also not a sin. Except that in this case, in this culture, Onan is supposed to be providing an heir to the woman he married. This is God's way of looking after people to make sure they have somebody to carry on the family heritage, family property rights, and just to take care of this woman as she gets older. So when he spills his seed on the ground, he is not providing an heir on purpose so that maybe some of his own sons get the property. We don't actually know that whole story, but the point is, myth busted. This is not about masturbation. This is about a dude who is not following God's prescribed way of looking after his own people. Point number two, because there's nothing expressly mentioned in the Bible about masturbation, and because we know there's nothing inherently wrong with making ourselves feel good, we have to then ask ourselves, is there anything else in the Bible, any other biblical principle that we should be considering about how Christians should view and treat their bodies that might apply here? And there are a couple Bible verses that I think are really applicable here. So let me read them to you. The first one is 1 Corinthians 10:31. It says, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God. So something that we should be measuring as Christians is, what are we doing to and with our body, and can we glorify God with it? The second verse is also in 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20. It says, do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own, you were bought with a price. Therefore, honor God with your body. Kind of the same principle, the same idea as the last one. Our bodies have been redeemed by and belong to God. That's part of Christian theology. We are not here for ourselves. Everything we do with this vessel should be honoring and glorying God. So there are some guidelines. I want to tread lightly here because I know that views are divergent across Christianity, but in theory, at least, I think we can agree that masturbation is a physical act that can glorify God and how He made our bodies. The problem I've encountered in my own life and when I talk to my friends is that our desire to masturbate does not usually come from this overwhelming need to praise, glorify, and honor God with our bodies. The compulsion to masturbate generally comes from lust, which in this case is kind of a self-centered desire to have our very real physical and sexual needs met. That selfish desire often becomes the fuel that makes us want to masturbate. And that is lust, and that needs to be held in check according to the Bible. All right, point number 3. Jeff, because of this lusting, I can easily answer the second part of your question, which is pornography okay as long as it's not an addiction? Simple no here. Much easier than the first part that's full of nuance. Pornography is not designed to make you your best self. I want to say this because we're not going to talk about the porn industry today or the effects on people within the industry. We're only talking about its effect on you and me. But at its absolute best, even when it's consensual and people have good working conditions, porn is not going to make you the best friend, the best spouse, or the best lover that you can be. So the reason Christians can't get down with porn is not because we believe that God's mad about sex. We believe he designed it and that it's awesome. We believe that primarily sex is supposed to be a two-person activity where we are generally looking to give pleasure and serve the other, rather than turning the experience inward and it being all about me and my desires and how can I get what I want. To use a favorite analogy that I swiped from my friend Ty Gibson, partner lovemaking is like eating fruit. You get sweetness with the right amount of fiber, water, and nutrients, and porn would be likened to eating the less healthy and more addictive candy bar. Partner lovemaking requires different parts of the relationship to be going well. You check in with each other, you communicate, you make sure everybody's comfortable and happy, and that's how you have a great sex life, is that other areas in your life are going well too. Porn requires none of the give and take, communication, partner negotiation, or other-centeredness that partner lovemaking does. So it's like the sugar hit of the candy bar without the healthy fiber, and generally speaking, again, it makes people entitled, impatient, it changes their expectations when it comes to lovemaking, and of course, depending on the type of porn people are watching, that can just be the beginning of some of the challenges. I want to mention a resource here that I will also list in the description section. It's called fightthenewdrug.org. There are tons of studies and information that are not religious at all that just let you know how porn affects the brain and how it can affect relationships. All right, here's your video summary. In theory, yes, you can feel good about masturbation as a natural function of your body. I know this seems really weird because of the culture we live in, but if you can masturbate while not objectifying and lusting after other people, you're probably okay. And if you find that that's where you're headed, you might want to abstain and ask yourself some deeper questions. Why are you thinking the way you are about other people? What's stimulating you? What are your deepest needs? And one really good question to kind of turn it back around is, how can I most lovingly serve those whom I'm attracted to? All right, here's one more big point and one piece of advice that I want to leave with you before I go. Christian young people especially are charged with the idea of remaining pure, or at least trying to, until marriage, yet we're getting married later and later. So while your body's all revved up with hormones and fun, passionate stuff when you're a teenager, if you're not getting married till like your early 20s or 30s or 40s, in my case, then not having sex, not watching porn, not masturbating, all of these things are much bigger challenges than they were 50, 100 years ago. So while I believe that your life will be at its best and you will be extra blessed as you follow most closely to God's plan for your life and plan for purity, I also think that you need to be giving yourself some grace. What I do think is that this drive and sexual passion should be put to good use, especially in your youth. Every time you're feeling overwhelmed by this or especially interested in it, take it as a sign from God that you are supposed to be planning for your future relationship, for your future spouse. Instead of getting off all the time, use that energy to get on a real plan of mentorship, of following after people who you see as having great relationships, including sexual ones. I know that there are some older people who will let you know that married sex is awesome and that they enjoy it, and that should be a part of our religious discussions. So find those people, and if you can't find them, email me and I'll help you find them. All right, thank you so much to Jeff for writing in, for your vulnerability and your friendship. This is the last Q&A I'm going to make for a few weeks because I have the How Not to Read the Bible series coming up. And if you haven't signed up, I would love for you to. Of course, there's info in the description section. That's about it for me today. I'm wishing you joy and peace for your journey, wherever it leads you. Bye for now. My husband's home. I hear his music. He's so cute.
Hello! Hi, Gracie.
Honey, come give me a quick kiss.
Are you yelling at me, honey?
Yeah, baby. Kiss.
Sorry.
I love you. I'm glad you're home.
It's nice to be home.